Hi everybody. So in my last videos, I always start off with telling you guys that I was a long-term employee before I got into real estate. And I worked for a company for 27 years and I was able to transition into real estate in my mid 40s. And I put this channel together just to have a reliable source of information for people to come to if they want to invest in real estate, and also to share my journey on how I transitioned out of being a long-term employee into running my own business. And just to let you guys know that it can be done. Like, anybody can do this. And that's why I put this channel together. And for everybody who doesn't know who I am, my name is William Malone. So today I wanted to talk about, is it better to save money or is it better to invest in real estate? One of the perks that I find about real estate is you don't need a college education for this. This does not require a college degree. Anybody can invest in real estate. The banks don't require you to have a college degree, and I think that is awesome. And so that just tells you that anybody can do this. The biggest and hardest thing you have to do is come up with your down payment. But once you come up with that down payment, anybody can get into this. So that's one of the perks, was getting into real estate and investing in real estate. So another thing about real estate that I think is beneficial for people is that it's a great second stream of income. It's something that doesn't require all of your time like a job. You work that regular 9 to 5 and it eats up a lot of your time. Even on your days off, you're still planning on getting ready for work and stuff like that. So with real estate, you know, you buy the property. It's not as passive as everybody thinks it is. You still have to put work into your property. I mean, for the people out there who say that they're it's totally passive, don't believe that. They're probably not doing a good job on managing their properties if they're telling you that it's 100% passive. It's not. If I had to put a number on it or a percentage on how passive real estate is, I would say it's about 80% passive. And this is after you buy the property and you get it moving the way you wanted to get it going. Especially if you have a property manager in place, you still have to manage your property manager to make sure they're doing a good job. So you still have to keep up with them and have some meetings and stuff with them just to make sure that they're maintaining your property the way you want it maintained. And this is not dependent on the size of the property. It doesn't matter. No matter what size of the property you want to do this. So real estate is not 100% passive. You still have to put work into it, especially when you first buy the property. There's things that need to be done. You might have some things that you need to fix around there. You might want to update some cabinets or some flooring, to get some better tenants in there. So at that point in time, it's more hands-on than it is passive. But once you get all that stuff done and you get the place running the way you want it to, then I would say it's about 80% passive. So it's 20% you're going to be putting work into the property. So don't just assume that it's 100% passive, is what I'm trying to say. But it is a great second stream of income because you don't have to be there to collect the money all the time. It doesn't require all of your time. So if you have a job, a regular 9 to 5, and this is just it's like an easy second paycheck rolling in. Once you get this place running like a well-oiled machine, it's an easy second paycheck coming in. So it's a great second stream of income. Another good thing about real estate is that it's higher returns. A lot of us, save our money, and I was one of the people who saved my money up all the time. But when you put your money into the bank, you're not getting anywhere near the returns that you're going to get in real estate. And in real estate, the returns are different depending on the numbers on the property, or how much you bought a property for. It really just depends on the numbers. You can get a 6% return, a 7% return, an 8% return. Heck, sometimes you can get 10 or 15, 20% return on properties, just depending on, the numbers, the income, the expenses, the NOI, the cash flow off the property. Once you go through all those numbers, it depends on how much, that'll determine how much your ROI is going to be. So but you're going to get higher returns off of investing in real estate than you would from putting your money into a bank account. And not only that, but you're going to get good tax benefits. If you own a property, even if it's just a single family home, and you're working a regular job, that single family home is going to save you some money on taxes at the end of the year. I always say this when it comes to jobs. We all have the indication that, I pay taxes. And I think that's wrong. When you're working at a job, taxes are taken from you. When you get paid, it's already deducted, you know. But when you get into real estate, when you're on your own business, you pay taxes because you don't pay taxes until the end of the year. And that's after you've gone through with your accountant and you've written off everything that you can write off in real estate, then you pay taxes. But when you work at a job and you're working at a regular 9 to 5, taxes are taken from you. You know, no matter how you look at it, they're taken from you. You have no choice but to pay them. And they're already deducted before you get your paycheck. So not only do you get good tax benefits off of owning property, but it hedges inflation. You know, during inflation, money loses its value. During inflation, properties appreciate in value. They move with inflation. So you tell me where you want to be. Do you want to have something that's depreciating in value, or you want to have something that's appreciating in value? With money, it's called cash flow. Money is supposed to flow through the economy, and if it's just sitting in your bank account, it's not flowing and it's not doing much for you. So what you want to do is you want to trade in that dollar for something that's appreciating. And this is something that they don't teach us in school. So you have to figure out what side of the inflation you want to be on. You want to be on the side that's appreciating, or do you want to be on the side that's depreciating? That's up to you. And they got that old saying that cash is king. And for me, I'm gonna put myself out there, and I'm gonna say I don't think cash is king anymore. I think credit is king. When you can go to the bank and say, "Hey, I want to buy this property for $1 million," and they look at your credit and they say, "Yeah, we can give you that loan," and all you need is 25% down, sometimes 20% down. You tell me which one is king. Even though a lot of sellers, if you go to them and you be like, "Hey, I'm a cash buyer. I'll buy your property cash," they'll probably sell the property to you before they sell it to somebody who's going to use traditional financing, because it takes less time to close. And there's a lot of real estate deals that don't go through. So if you have cash, obviously that one's going to go through. But for the people who don't want to use cash or don't have the cash, this is called leverage. Leveraging other people's money. And this is what this is. And what leveraging other people's money is that's the banks loaning out your money. So for the people who, I was just talking about this, who save their money in the bank account and just leave their money in the bank account, the bank takes your money and they loan it out to people who want to buy property, or whatever they go to the bank to get a loan for. That's where the money's coming from. So the thing what I'm trying to get to say here is, if you don't use your money, if you don't put your money to work for you, somebody else will. So you might as well be the one to do it that's making the money off of your money. And that's why I say you don't want to just leave your money in the bank account. You want to trade it in for something that's appreciating, something that is going to give you a return on your money. And that's the best way on how to get out of a 9 to 5 job anyway, is to start learning how to put your money to work for you. If your money is just sitting in the bank account stagnant, it's not doing much for you. So learn how to get that second stream of income. Then after that, you're going to be working on that third stream and the fourth stream and the fifth stream. And it just keeps going on. You're just going to keep on building. Once you realize that making money doesn't require as much time as working at a 9 to 5 job does. So that's all I really have for you guys today. Do me a favor. Now, I said that I think credit is king now. Leave in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on this. Is cash king today or is credit king today? Let me know what you guys think about that. I think that's interesting. So please let me know what you guys think about that. So um, that's all I have for you guys today. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one.